Guys, welcome to Python to Java 101 pretty much. You guys can just refer to me as Professor-ish for this video. Today we'll be going over the differences between printing hello world in Python versus Java. This video is intended for people who use Python, are very familiar, and are jumping to learn Java, which and sometimes could be very difficult as the languages are kind of very different, as well as Python is a very lax and lenient language versus Java, which is very explicit. But I'll show you the differences first using Python. So I'll just show you fancy little PowerPoint. Here we go. Let's start our Python tutorial real quickly. As we all know, so I kind of rushed through this a little bit because we do know what's going on here. So in Python, just to print hello world, we just type in print parentheses double quotes or single quotes, doesn't really matter in Python, hello world. Add some excitement into it with an exclamation mark here, and another parentheses. Oops, forgot my double quotes again. And that will do it for you guys. And just hit run, very simple, and print hello world. And just to show you, I am running Python 3.11.1. This is the last update was made in December 6, 2022, so it is last year's model, but it's pretty up to date and should be very similar, if not this exact same, for the newest model and or the few last recent updates before this model, this Python. So pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Just to go over some things real quickly. In Python, inside the parentheses of print, we provide the text you want to display. In this case, it's the string hello world, enclosed in double quotes. In Python, double quotes or single quotes can be used to define strings interchangeably, so it doesn't really matter with the single or double quotes. When you run this Python script, the print hello world statement is executed and is displayed hello world in the console. So this is pretty much it. The shell, the console, same thing, whatever you guys want to call it. Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty of Java. And for this experience, we'll be using Eclipse. That's what I was taught in, and so that's what I'm gonna go over in. So just to, once again, move on with my PowerPoint. We're gonna go to Java, and here we go. Let's get into it, guys. So for Java, I think I'm just going to write the code first, and I'll explain it line to line because it is kind of a lot compared to Python, especially if this is your first time trying to learn something like this. So just follow through for right now, and I'll go back and explain it to you line by line pretty much. And that's pretty much it, guys. So though I said it's just it, that is a lot compared to Python. So let me just start going through line by line pretty much what's going on here. Okay, so like I said, Java is an explicit language where you have to explain to Java what is actually going on and declare everything. So the first line here where we could say public class hello world. So pretty much what we're doing here is we're declaring the class. In this script, we define a class named hello world, and the class contains the code for our program. This is pretty simple. It's not too crazy, but that's just how it works in Java compared to Python. Okay, and now let's get back to our keyword here, in which we use the word public. So the public keyword indicates that the class is accessible from the outside the class. So hello world would be unaware if we were to use something like private static void versus public. I'm not going to get into the big differences of this, but this is kind of something you would kind of nice to understand, is that it allows for the main class that we created to read the code underneath it. All right, and what's another thing that's very important is the squiggly brackets you saw me writing here are very important as well, as squiggly brackets are used to define the scope of the class. All code related to the class is enclosed within these braces. So in reality, because Python runs like this, Java runs like this, we can actually just write all this code on one line, and at the end of the day, it would still run both ways regardless of what's going on here. So that just doesn't matter to Python and Java. The only reason we see an indentation because it just makes it easier to read for us. As you know, we are humans and we're not like robots. We cannot read like robots. So it makes us, or whoever's proofreading your code, and I just ask never to do that if you're ever getting serious about programming, to write all your code on one line, because you will have angry programmers trying to attack you. So that's just one crucial point to understand, which is kind of cool compared to Python. So let's get down to the last part of code, which is our system.out. This refers to the standard output, which is usually the console or the shell, where you can see the program's output. And then the last part pretty much would be this println, hello world. Pretty much what it's saying is the statement within the main method, it prints the string hello world and to standard output. The method automatically adds to a new line character after the text. So the next output will be on a new line. If you get, in the next shell, when you print it out, it'll print out the new line, hello world. So in summary, both Python and Java provide ways to print text to console. Python uses the print function, while Java uses system.out.println. Let me put these both up just side by side so we can actually see what I'm talking about versus, just kind of wondering what's going on here. So as you can see, there we go. The key differences in these syntaxes and structures of the code is Python is more concise and has less jumble rumble, all these words going around, compared to Java, where we have to actually declare every single thing as its explicit language. So just to go over the main differences once again, Python's simplicity, as it is more often concise and straightforward. And in this example, you only needed one line to print hello world. Furthermore, Python is not an explicit type declaration code, right? So Python is dynamically typed, meaning you don't need to declare the type of variables or functions return types. In the print statement, you directly provided the string to be printed, which is much easier, more simple, versus Java, which has a lot more differences, where it's an explicit class and method structure that you need to define a class, which we used hello world, and a main method within that class to start your program. This structure is more verbose compared to Python. So it's very different, And Java is statically, which means you must declare variable types and methods, return types. In the main method, you need to specify that it takes an array of strings as arguments, as shown right here, our string, and this is our argument, which is we called args, and that it doesn't return anything, which could be, potentially, if you just left it empty, would be void. And the next crucial thing is our semicolon. In Java, you end statements with semicolons. In Python, you don't need semicolons to indicate or terminate the statement. And one more major thing is that in Java code, use access modifiers like public to specify the visibility of class and methods. Python doesn't require such explicit visibility declarations, as you can see when we declared public static void and public class, which is not seen nowhere within Python code. So just to summarize, once again, in Python, we emphasize simplicity and readability with minimal code, right? While Java has a more structured and verbose syntax with explicit type declarations and access modifiers, the choice between the two languages often depends on your specific requirements and or project you will be doing. We won't get into that much. This is just an introduction video. But I do thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helped explain Java just a little bit more.